What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is HUD Wednesday nights, breaking down Eagles, Jags, and we'll talk about the Sixers. Let's go.
I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Welcome in, everybody. This is HUD Wednesday nights, only on HUD Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. One of the best stuffed bread, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs. You mentioned HUD Radio, 10% off your order. Go check out Baggio's Bread. As always, no eating. Luke Brown, Greg Malakovic, and a new guy on with us, taking the place of Heel Chrome, Mikey Buckets. Mike, welcome on the HUD Wednesday nights. Mike knows it all. You know what I mean? He said he's more versed. I'm going to put words in his mouth like Greg put hats on my head. He's more versed into the basketball game, but he knows it all. You know what I mean? He knows all four around here. We got a lot to go over tonight, though. Sixers, Pistons. We'll give you our post-game thoughts on a ugly loss. So we'll dive into that later on the show. Trade deadline nears in the NFL. Who do you want? Who do you think the Eagles need? We'll break it all down. Eagles, Jags previews the main conversation at hand. And we'll give you our players of the game as well. Score prediction, chance for you guys. Little $100 Venmo. You nail it. Nobody ever nails it. It's all stink. Everybody stinks at score predictions. It's amazing. I won't take shots at the family out there, but, lock in a little bit. Our poll for tonight, the Eagles will cover the 7.5-point spread this week against the Jaguars. You agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Join the conversation. I mean, they're playing great football right now, right? So, they're trending upwards. Jags are trending downwards, obviously. I mean, not as bad as they started, but, they're not as good of a football team as us. It's here in Philly. It's a big line. Line sort of telling you something, or it's telling you nothing. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard to get predictions on lines at times. You know what I mean? Like, but you should have been like, Nick's a better coach than Doug.
I could have done that.
You know what I mean? I can't believe you missed that opportunity.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Easy to miss. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It just fell into my lap thinking about stuff. But
it did, because I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, who do you like better?
This would be Doug's last game as a Jaguar coach. I could have gone that way, too.
We'll be just audible on it in. Like, 24 Tiger. Doug Peterson is a better head coach than Nick Sirianni. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Agree. Even though Nick has way more wins.
Disagree.
But, yeah, I just thought that's where we were going to go tonight. I mean, it's a perfect week for it. But in terms of the poll, I do think they cover, right? They're playing their best football. And, I heard it all week. I hear it for 2 weeks that they didn't play anybody offensively, and that's the only reason for their defense's success. I hear that. They started to play NFL teams on Sunday that were game planning to be productive versus them. But this past week, that's a really good offense. We know the type of firepower they have. They're not running the football well, but on the outside, they're explosive. And listen, we made adjustments, which we don't see. We're making more and more adjustments as coaching staffs. I think we're starting to catch our groove right now. So I think this might be a roll job. This might be a roll job on Sunday. So I'll agree. Not that you can't really dive in it more than that. So we'll obviously keep talking about other stuff, but for the poll, I'll try to just keep that quick as possible. I agree. Swinging around.
I'm with you. I agree.
He's back.
Something.
He's back on the wagon.
Something happened this weekend, and we were talking about it a little bit pre-show. Yeah, a little bit pre-show. We were talking about it. Greg, you'd appreciate it. I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and I fully expected to be there for an upsetting loss. I totally was expecting that. And then I felt pretty good afterwards, and I woke up the next day saying, okay, I'm going to go to this bar. I'm going to go to this bar and watch the Eagles game and probably be disappointed for that one. That didn't happen either. I'm kind of having a change of thought for myself. I know I'm typically the negative guy of the group, but I feel like they are currently in a position where they are just more talented than a lot of teams that they're playing right now. And they're still not scoring in the first quarter, but the last one, they just really didn't get the ball till the end. They just look better. And I don't know what anyone else is seeing, but after the Browns game, in my opinion, I see more of a Kellen Moore offense. And this kind of reminds me of what they did in Nick's first year, where he then handed it over to Steichen, the play calling. Things just look different. They started winning again. I don't know if it's that impactful, but it's definitely looking good so far. So I'll agree. Definite cover.
It's funny you bring that up, Luke. Did you see the clip of Chris Long breaking down what happened with Nick Sirianni's first year when he was calling plays? I
did see a lot of like Sirianni or Orlovsky saying it looks a lot more like Kellen Moore.
The first 8 games of Sirianni's career and his head coaching tenure, he was like 60-40 or something maybe even worse. And then he hands over to the play calling to Steichen, and it comes back down to normal, right? 53-47, right? Somewhere in the normal range. And then to start the year, this year, we're like the optics and the metrics were exactly the same as to when Nick was calling plays early in his career. And you almost wonder if internally that kind of switch did happen.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree to the poll. Tommy, you mentioned it. Luke, you mentioned it. They're rolling right now. And I think the most impressive part of it is they're rolling from the defensive side right now, right? They're getting after the quarterback. Even last week, they didn't necessarily have the sack numbers last week, but there was pressure on Burrow. Right, Burrow was having to move, get off his spot. He couldn't just sit back there and pick us apart, minus the first drive of the game. But I think the defense is really ratcheting it up, their play and their intensity, and that's feeding over to the offense. So I agree to the poll.
Yeah, you made a good point real quick about the passing game, right? And I think play callers they get into these habits sometimes of like just wanting to throw the football. Right, yeah. They're so eager to throw the football, and some guys just don't even realize they're like calling that many pass plays. So maybe he was involved, but I also think Kellen Moore's a guy. When see this is the catch-22. You got such firepower on the outside. It's like you want to get these guys the football,
yeah,
but you got a show pony in the backfield. You're a better overall running team than you are a throwing team because of your quarterback. That's just calling it how it is. All right, and you win more games that way. So as much as you want to do because it's more fun, right? And the milk, home runs bring the girls to the park, right? Yeah. Like it's the same concept. Like
chicks dig the long ball.
Chicks dig explosive offenses. But like I said on Sunday, it's fun to win this way too, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can have it both ways. You can be explosive, win, beat up on people, and not have to throw the ball 35 times a game. You can have it both ways. If you didn't have Saquon Barkley, we're in a different conversation depending on who the running back is. But with those two guys in the backfield, you have the biggest dual threat weapons outside of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry inside your backfield.
Yep.
The two best dual threats outside of those two guys, because I'll give Lamar the edge on Jalen. He's just so freaking explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the drop of a hat, Barkley can rip off 60.
We see it.
Change a game instantly.
It's Barry Sanders effect. 2, maybe -1. 60.
Right.
So you want to continue to belly that for the opportunity, for the explosive play that can change a game. Yep. So I don't know. I just think even playing Madden, right? Like you want to throw the football. So I get it. I get it. But sometimes that's where you got to give it up. So whatever. That's a conversation for later on in the show. Mike, what do you say to the poll?
To me, I never take 7.5. You're going to take 7.5. I'll take 9.5. I think we steamroll him. I truly believe it. And Saquon Barkley, like we said, he's had a lot of big runs this season. So obviously the number's inflated, but he's at 5.9. I think it says 5.9 yards per carry. So run the football. Okay. It's fun winning games no matter how you do it. Just run the football.
I mean, you got a roll job too. We're just all,
I love it.
We're all rolled up here. I mean, we know how this ends. Here in Philly, we all got double-digit wins. We lose by 21. Jalen's Achilles pops.
The over-under was 10.5, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say because 7.5, like if you're at that point, you're taking them to win by 10. I'm either taking them for a touchdown just as a better. I'm taking the 7 or I'm taking 9.5. I'm not taking 7.5. But I think they should get the job done. I think they get Dougie P fired this week.
Let's go.
The person to watch for is going to be Tank Bigsby. He's been great. ETN's fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah, Tank's been their best guy.
Yeah, is he to that point? Is he even playing?
ETN or Bigsby?
Yeah, no, ETN. I knew he was hurt for a minute. It does look like he does feel good about playing.
He was limited practice today. He was limited at practice. So.
Well, I guess it's my turn to go, huh, boys?
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Tell you what. I think the Eagles, they play well. But for some reason, I don't know why, maybe it's Dougie P. I think the Jags cover, but the Eagles pull out the victory. I don't think it's going to be as convincing as we all hope. But I think we play well, and most importantly, we have yet another football game where we can say Jalen didn't turn the ball over, and
that's huge.
No doubt. And I think this defense will play well. I really like the way our front seven has come together, at least the last few weeks. So, I mean, I know I've been shitting on them. Rightfully so, the much of the first half of this season. But I'll give credit where credit's due. And I think Quinyon Mitchell in the defensive backfield, along with Cooper DeJean, I think they're coming along very well, making a lot of big plays. I mean, especially Mitchell. He's virtually a shutdown corner right now. And he's only going to get better. And I think the key, you guys alluded to it earlier, we had Burrow running for his life last week. And he, as great a quarterback as he is, it seems like just like a lot of quarterbacks, when you put pressure on them, you're just consistent with it and keep bringing it. He tends to get rid of that ball a little earlier than he wants to.
Well, let's not be mistaken. It's a sport of rhythm and timing playing.
Yeah, and we definitely threw his timing off. And I was really happy with the way this defense played, especially in the second half of the ball game. I mean, they started off slow with that drive. I mean, that pissed me off. But look, they rebounded. They made the adjustments. And that's something they didn't do too well the first few weeks of the season. And, I'm proud of the way this team has come together. And, we'll see. I'm not ready to say we're going to New Orleans or something in February, but
we were saying it on Sunday.
Why not?
So, I don't think we're quite there yet, but
we're quite there.
I'm hoping by the end of the season, I think we're definitely heading in the right direction.
This is the shit I'm talking about. Like, expectations don't change. That's how we let guys off the hook if expectations change. You had a 12-13 win team like myself, right?
11 or 12, yeah.
Okay.
Where
did you have him go? Where did you have him go when the season started?
At minimum, the NFC Championship game.
Don't you run from that. You're better than that.
I think that's still a very fair.
Oh, believe me,
a decade I've known you.
If we fall short of the Lombardi Trophy, don't get me wrong, I'll be just as pissed off as everybody else.
Oh, I don't need the trophy. I'm gonna make this clear. I don't need the trophy.
To throw my TV out the window, the whole 9 yards.
I better finish winning an NFC title game. Win.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need the Super Bowl trophy per se. Like, I want it, but it's a minimum getting to the title game like you talked about. But then it's
and I agree, especially with how wide open the NFC is. There is no
Minnesota.
Huh?
Like, are we scared of Minnesota? Are we fucking
better
scared?
We better not
I'm gonna drop the. I'm gonna come on. Are we scared of Sam Darnold? He saw ghosts at one point. He literally said he was seeing ghosts. Now we're scared of him. playing in the nice confines of the friendly dome? Are we scared of Sam Darnold when he gets outside and has to play in 30 degrees?
I'm not.
If you are, check your beanbags.
Yeah.
Because we got bigger problems. Who else? Who else got Brock Purdy?
Yeah, they
Who
don't
are we
look too
scared
good.
of in the NFC?
Who knows if they'll even make the playoffs?
I'm just talking. I'm giving you.
I'll tell you what. I'm not scared of the Commanders whatsoever, but they have always played us tough. Like, I'm not scared of them whatsoever. And they got very lucky with that win. It was a fluke win. They haven't beat anybody good. I get all that. But before they were even true. Good, they play us tough.
Very true, Mike. And I'll tell you what, I don't even know if they'll be relevant in December.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying, regardless of whether they're relevant
they're
or
off
irrelevant.
they're off to a great start. Don't get me wrong, but I still think they're a year or two away from doing anything.
Well, yeah, but they're off to a good enough start to where December they'll still be relevant, even if they go on a losing streak, because they're off to a good enough start record-wise to still be there.
All right, relevant as in they'll get the 6th or 7th seed. And
there you go. I got you.
I'll be
fair.
The threat. Yeah, Detroit is the threat. Detroit is binoculars 100%. On them. I'm watching everything you do, right? Like I'm paying attention over there, and Aiden Hutchinson going down definitely makes them a little bit less of a threat.
So,
rightfully so. But
I guess for shits and giggles, I technically disagree to the poll, but give me a 6-point win, and I think at game's end we're going to say, hey, at least it's a win and it's a W, and we get ready for Dallas.
Well, Mike's right to Chris's point. Like the only I'm worried about Washington because they play us great all the time. And we'll probably lose both to them somehow. So, of course, Mike was spot on about that. But in terms of, worried about them playoff time, no.
Playoffs?
If I got to worry about a rookie quarterback during the playoffs, then Vic Fangio should just fire himself.
And then Nick Sirianni can go with him.
yeah, they can all go together.
Not that it's a team that I'm particularly scared of. Not a team that I'm particularly scared of for ourselves, but I think the Rams are going to be a whole lot better, in the coming months. After the trade deadline, they're always aggressive, and their 2 receivers are finally healthy. They seem like they're going in the right direction, too. They're going to be – I think they're the winner of that division, and I am not trying to play Matthew Stafford in a playoff game. I'm good.
I'll play him in the cold, though. I'll play him out here.
Yeah. I expect
agree with
to
you.
Win the game.
It's funny how particularly the Rams, right, went from a week ago trading Stafford. The Vikings were in on Stafford. Everybody was in on Cooper Kupp. And then all of a sudden, Kupp and Nakua come back, and Stafford looks like Stafford in his prime again. So, but no, they're always a tough team. Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, they are for sure. I don't want to leave good football teams out of it. I just don't think the one team at the top I'm necessarily concerned of, and that's the Vikings, right? I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying I'm not I shouldn't lose to Sam Darnold in a playoff game. Mm-hmm. Having a great bounce back year, I get it. Kudos to him, right? He's an example, like a Jared Goff example of a guy who just didn't work necessarily in the first place, but figured things out and is sort of proving that he's not a bust per se. Like he is, but he can still play at a high level. So
he's like a poor man's Jared Goff.
Yeah, when you get some show ponies, it makes your life easier. So when you have Justin Jefferson and you can whip it around and throw everything in the route tree, which he can, obviously. Reason he went 1 or 2, wherever he went, right? But you got Jefferson, you got Addison, you got playmakers. You got a good tight end. You got TJ Hawkinson, right? So I mean, you got a good tight end. It makes your life easier than when you're the first pick of the draft and you come in with nothing. That's the problem. This is an argument for another day. That's the problem organizationally. Like you can still draft the guy, he just ain't gonna make everybody else that much better. But if you surround him with guys who can play, he's gonna show you why you thought he was a number 1 pick. They'll show you why. You don't get Caleb Williams all the time. But again, he gave Caleb Williams everything. He gave Caleb Williams a roster on offense that's extremely competitive, right? Jaden Daniels comes in with a top tier wide receiver per se, a top 12 to 15 in that range wide receiver in the league. And Terry McLaurin, like, makes life easier for young guys. So, guys, you can just take notes on that for a different day. But just helping GMs do their fucking jobs. Like if you surround them with nothing, you can't like Bryce Young might think out loud. I don't know, right? I'm not there every day. I have no idea, right? He's 5'8", so he probably does. But that being said, what are we doing? Like if you're going to lose with them. Lose with them. You're going to run out. We're running out of guy 45 years old. Like, Andy, like, come on, just lose with him. We give a guy a chance. So there's my rant. Whatever. Eagles, back to Eagles. Sorry.
He's back in this week.
He is back.
For one thing, how we rattled Burrow, who didn't look rattled, and it was nice to see Mr. Hurts. Thought he played a damn good ball game. And, of course, he got help from Barkley in the run game, and the offensive line played well, and all his weapons played well. It's a hell of a catch by Smith in the end zone there. But I thought he was on time with a lot of his throws. I thought he got rid of the ball when he needed to. I thought he, when needed, he was able to be elusive in the pocket, escape pressure, took off when it was time to. And I thought overall, he didn't just look like a game manager. He looked like an NFL quarterback who was competent and capable of playing at this level. And I hope we see more of that as the season goes along. But I was really encouraged there.
I'm glad you brought it up. I think Burrow and Hurts, he never gets criticized. I feel like Hurts is always getting criticized, and Burrow is this guy that you cannot criticize. And I don't understand it. When you look at their career, they've done the same thing. They've both lost in the Super Bowl, and that's it. That's all they've ever done. It's like, why is Burrow so untouchable about criticizing, but Hurts is like, we can criticize him every day.
Right, and they both won a shitload of games in college, and the list goes on, and they both have some playoff wins to their resume, and
they both lost to Mahomes.
Yep. So they both got to a Super Bowl.
My only debate for you two on this is, we got eyes. Like if we two things. One, do we have eyeballs? Like we can see them both throw the football, right? Okay, we got that part of it. We're all on the same page there. But I'm gonna go to, if we lived in Cincinnati and we drafted this guy number 1 overall, and we're going this way directionally as an organization, we'd be all over them. So are we talking nationally or are we talking internally? Like the criticism.
Nationally.
Totally national.
Yeah. Which is totally fair. Totally fair.
Your best ability is availability. And I feel like Burrow's missed way more time than Hurts has. But Burrow's this guy that you just cannot criticize. God forbid you criticize him, you get torn apart. And Hurts gets
true, because you go right to his offensive line. You go right to everything else not already up. You go right to all the other things. Yeah.
Right.
Fair.
Meanwhile, he has Jamar Chase that he's played with since probably middle school, for God's sakes. Or it seems that way. And T. Higgins and so on and so forth, even though I guess is he still out?
Yeah, he's out, but he has them. Yeah. To your point.
You know what I mean? And yes, Hurts obviously has a lot of weapons too. And don't get me wrong, we've criticized Hurts when he deserved to be, and no doubt. I mean, we tell it like it is here. And there's times where he looked like Ryan Leaf, for God's sakes. And there's a name for you. And there's other times where he's looked like a Hall of Famer. So, and then there's everywhere in between.
This shit ain't hard. Like, it's not hard. You got your pen right there. Yeah, write down 25.
25.
Yeah, and just keep that right there. Put it in your pocket for Sunday. Because we don't want to go over that number throwing the football.
Yep.
You gotta. People are blaming like Kellen for stuff like
balance helps.
You cannot throw the ball 35 times a game with Jalen Hurts and expect to win. You cannot be that type of offense. That's not who he is. You stop trying. You can't make him into a pocket passer. Like a pure, I'm going to drop back 35 and I go through my progressions and I go.
He's not. Let him be a playmaker.
He's not Ken Marino. He's a playmaker.
Yep.
Let him be a playmaker. It's as simple as that. So when you allow him to be a playmaker, like they had the last 3 weeks, there's a reason they're 3-0 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
This is not. It's not calculus. It's not physics. This is the most basic shit in the world.
Hey, he's taking off for 7 yards.
Yeah, don't change him.
And instead of trying to wait forever for a receiver to come open for him to get smacked down for a sack.
But he looks better because of this.
Yes.
And it's a good thing. Like, I want him to look better, right? Like, the turnovers obviously aren't happening. The mistakes obviously aren't happening. You know, he's cleaner with the football. He's more on time because they're building the offense back to what he did well. And I'll say it, in 2022, he didn't throw the ball 35 times a game. I don't know where people get this misconception that he did. He did not. We were the number 1 rushing attack in the NFL.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
No, make no mistake. When you run the football, it's obvious that it prevents the opposing front seven. It does not. It prevents them from pinning their ears back. It prevents you from being in 3rd and long. You know,
I had to run Clyde Edwards-Helaire or throw at Jalen Hurts. I would obviously throw at Jalen Hurts, right? Like every situation can be different, right? When I have arguably the best running back in football, when healthy, another when healthy conversation in Philly, but when I have that type of guy back there, right, that's where I don't have to. I can enjoy running the football. Like, I hate running the football. I had to watch other guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire run 30 times.
It's part of it. Is part of it when they put the cuffs on Hurts, so to speak, and not let him run as much? Were they so afraid of him taking so many hits?
Bingo.
Yet when you let him sit, when you make him sit in the pocket and make him be something he's not, well, guess what? He's going to take a lot of hits.
And the wrong kind of hits.
Right.
The science says you have a better chance of getting hurt in the pocket than you do running.
Oh, no question. You know,
not saying that's like right. I just heard that somewhere in it.
That sounds good to me. I mean, I'm not a research scientist either. This just did, you know. But
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
I've stayed at a couple here and there.
Yeah, you read my mind though. That first year they let him go. They let him run. And that's why even in the Super Bowl, they're down by 8. He ran in a touchdown and then bulldozed 2 guys for the 2-point conversion. Like, he was amazing because of the dual threat of passing and running. That big game against the Bills we love talking about last year, he ran in a touchdown. I mean, a part of our running offense was him. And now that you have Barkley, I get you got to dial it back. And not that the Ravens or Lamar has won anything, but you see them doing it with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry runs, but they still have the threat of Lamar running. And I think that's what makes them dangerous. If we could make Hurts run a little more, Barkley's going to be even that much better.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're giving Henry 20, 25 touches a game, and yet Lamar's still getting his 50 yards in his 5 to 8 rushing attempts that he's taking himself. So but he's also the same thing we're talking about Jalen. He's also only throwing the ball 20, 25 times a game. They're making sure that he's calculated in his passing to where you're not overexposing these guys that aren't necessarily the greatest passers in the game.
Well, you're playing to, you're playing at a running back strength because you have a dual threat quarterback, right? So you create that problem for teams on having to make decisions and staying home, and you just put more pressure on them. Like, again, if you don't have the running back to the caliber of Barkley, you don't put as much pressure. You still do, but it's just not to that level. But yeah, it's
Well, at the quarterback position, you cannot afford to be a statue these days. I mean, this isn't a league where you could be like Marino or John Elway or Jim Kelly and just sit back and take your 7-step drop. I mean, hell, you got defensive linemen in the NFL today, some of whom run as fast as a running back does. It's just the truth. I mean, it's a mobile game. It's a fast game. You got guys at the linebacker, or you got freaking defensive ends who run 4.40s. I mean, you cannot stay in that pocket too long. You have to move around. And I think Kellen Moore and their willingness to let Hurts be himself has paid dividends over the last few weeks.
So I found that video I mentioned earlier when Luke was going. So the first 8 weeks of 2001, the run pass option was 33-67. Throughout the first drives of this year, the run pass option was 33-67. So even though it's Miller's offense, you think you would obviously with those numbers, show that Nick might have a hand in the scripted plays early on, and then it more evens out 43-57 as you go throughout the game. So that's pretty staggering, though, that our struggles early on in the game coincide with when Nick was running was calling the plays, and our struggles early on in his tenure, where through 8 weeks we were calling for his head. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's what Jeffrey wants.
Yes. That's what he's
showing
he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, we know the elephant in the room here. So we know what he looks for. And somebody said Hurts is a better pocket passer than Donovan. That's not true. That's not true. You need to go back and watch games then. Like, I'm serious. Like, you just need to go back and watch games. Like, don't come in here, KZ.
I was waiting for you on that one.
Don't look at KZ. This is what he does. I would say he's better than that, but he's not. He's not, because this is the takes. It's the takes. That's a horrific take. That's a horrific take. Nobody took care of the football better than Donovan did. Yeah. And I'll die on that hill. Okay. And the other side is, come on, dude. Even when he didn't have weapons, he was better. He was a better pocket passer.
Well, KC, how old are you? I mean,
Hurts gotten better, but I don't know. I think that's just.
KZ must have been 5 when Donovan was playing.
Donnie was pretty good.
Yeah, he was.
I know we love trashing him in this city. There's a
he
loves trashing him, but
he took us to some NFC title games with some bad wide receivers, minus T.O., of course.
Yeah, he was better in the pocket throwing the D. Jackson Macklin for those years. Looked really bad. Okay, dude. What has Jalen Hurts won, KZ, then, if we're doing this tonight?
Andy Reid choked that whole time, too, then. So you're going to put we could go down this hill. Yeah. McNabb had the absolute worst core wide receivers of any quarterback in the history.
It's like, dude, he got to an NFC title game with James Thrash, okay? And correct me if I'm wrong. Was Nay Brown on that team along with Todd Pinkston?
Yes.
I mean, come on. Those are not exactly Hall of Famers that I'm spouting here. Come on. Good Lord.
They're not.
No.
They're not.
Yeah, right. He didn't have, Deuce Staley was pretty damn good, but he didn't have Saquon Barkley in his backfield.
I wanted to keep driving by. I just couldn't do it. Just pull it up.
It's like the train wreck on the side of the road. You got to slow down and take a peek and be like, "Oh, what happened there? What happened?"
Reggie Brown.
Reggie Brown.
Good
Reggie.
Lord.
Georgia. We were early on the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
We were too early on them.
Too early.
Yeah. That's back when they were busy going, 6-5.
Yeah. The Mark Rick era.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It's amazing. Bases loaded, no outs for the Dodgers.
Yanks are choking.
It's great.
What's the score?
6-5.
Yeah,
6-5.
All right, score predictions. This defense has been playing well. I think they continue that. Quite a couple turnovers again this week. 28-17.
We got to cover.
Oh, yeah.
He agreed to the poll.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did.
Pour me another, bartender.
Yeah, it was a while. You're fine. It was a while ago. You're good. It was a long time ago. I don't remember what I said 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. It was a whole 20 minutes ago.
To be exact, it was 30. Like on the dot. Like on the dot. It was a good half. You're over a half. You're fine.
Yeah, we're good. Bartender?
Joe Boo.
Yeah.
Bartender, Joe Boo. Joe Boo needs another round.
Yeah, I'll take a lager and another double shot.
Luke?
All right, I'll go. I guess I agree with you. They're going to cover and everything. I think the pressure is really on the offense, though. To keep my trend of positivity, I think that what it really comes down to is will they score first in this game? And I think in the first quarter in this game, I think the answer is yes. And I think that's key, especially going up against this team, because you want to get on the board early. They just traded another offensive lineman on a team that had a pretty bad offensive line to begin with. So I think the key of it is get up early, prevent Tank Bigsby and ETN and those guys from beating you, and just rush the hell out of the passer. So I'm going 33-17. It's got to be a bashing. It's got to be. They don't want to play in a game where they have to throw the ball in the second quarter and they're reaching.
I'll say this: if they go up 7-0 and they score in the first quarter, they'll lose 28-27 to 7. Because we want it so bad. Yeah. I know how it works here. I've been around long enough, babe. You know what I mean? Like this shit ain't hard.
So you think we blow if we score early, we blow the load and that's it?
Oh yeah, we get a first drive score. Like the play's going to go crazy, like they won a Super Bowl, and we won't score the rest of the game.
With the Kelly Greens on.
Yeah. Be a Kelly Green massacre.
Yeah.
The game shift move.
What are we? We're digging Buddy Ryan out of the grave or something.
I got positive though.
No, I like it. I'm just joking. Obviously, I just feel like that's the way it works for us. Like, they don't score in the first quarter or the first drive.
You're probably right.
Back 7 quick, like 55 seconds, and then you're like, they didn't score. They didn't score for another 50. They didn't score for 59 minutes. What's going on here?
You're right.
I got a very similar score to Luke. I'm 31-17.
Ooh.
I think this offense is rolling.
A lot of 17s. Tells you we're liking the defense here around here. We're liking the way they're playing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we gave up 17 last week too. 17 was in my brain, but I'm gonna go even better. I'm gonna go 28-10.
Ooh,
I like it.
I like an elite defense. I'm a big fan of fucking elite defenses. Let's go.
I actually think
Kobe Dean all over the field.
I think the Jags come out and score first. We're down 7-0. Everyone's like, uh-oh. And then bang.
Here we go again.
They score 3 points. Yeah. Rest of the game.
I would love that. And I would love for drive time, dryer sheet radio to be talking about a 6-2 football team that just blows another team out and worried about them scoring in the first quarter or not. I don't give a shit how you start. I care how you finish. And I'll stand by that one. I mean, I love quick starts. Don't get me wrong. We'll love a little up 14-0 on somebody. But you've seen teams lose games like that in the NFL too. So I just want to win games. I don't give a shit how you start. I care about how you finish. And pretty easy.
I think our defense has like 2 turnovers also. Trevor Lawrence stinks. I've never been a believer in him.
Sunshine.
It is crazy how like far his career has fallen down.
Since his ankle injury.
Yeah. And you thought he was getting a QB guy in there. You thought that was the perfect spot for good old Dougie P. They must not have the secretaries like they do in Kansas City and Philly.
Blake Bortles was taking this team further.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's Blake Bortles. He's a retired legend now.
I mean, yeah, it's another guy that's so skilled, but he just never put it together. No, what's your score?
Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments.
Yeah, they're good.
They're entertaining. So we got Marshawn Lynch or whatever. Anyway, thanks for checking in. Saying 44-6 is the only acceptable answer or whatnot. I mean, come on, dude. This is the NFL. This isn't Madden. I mean, I'd love to see it, but
who are you, Mike? Who are you?
I don't know. I don't know this, Noah. I don't know this.
I know. Sometimes I'm more rational and reasonable when I'm not drinking. I mean, it's amazing.
Get back on the bottle.
I can. I'm taking certain medicine that won't prevent me. That prevents me from doing that right now. So I gotta wait a week. Got to be a good boy for Halloween.
We gotta get you back on the bottle.
Yeah, I got a lot of kids. I got a lot of kids running around the house downstairs. Anyway.
No Diddy.
I got 23-17. I think the Jags cover, but the Eagles win. I think the Eagles statistically dominate the game, but for whatever reason, they just can't quite pull away. But I think they do more than. It's going to be one of them games where you sit back and say, "Damn, we really only won that by 6. We kicked their ass up and down that field." And I think maybe a couple points get left off the board because they're kicking a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown. But I think we have another game with no turnovers. And give me a Quinyon Mitchell pick 6, baby.
Ooh.
And I think the defense shows up. Jalen plays turnover-free football. Give me a Jalen TD pass. How about a Barkley TD run? And give me a nice 23-17 win. One where we dominate the time of possession for like 38 or 40 minutes. And I think we'll sit back and say, hey, it's a dub we can be proud of, and we can't complain about 6-2, especially after the way this football team looked the first few weeks.
So you're sticking with the 6. They're not covering. That's what you're saying.
Nope. But 23-17, I'll take it. Mr. Lynch saying drunk Wilson greater than drunk Noah. All right, awesome. Well, Wilson's pretty cool too. So. Brian, hello. I hope you're doing well, sir.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Offensive player of the game. Give me. I want to go with this. I don't know where I want to go. I feel like I stayed away from Jalen. I feel like I have.
You definitely have.
Give me Devontae for 2.
Ooh.
I'll go with AJ. Why not? A few little go balls. He didn't have a crazy week last week, so he doesn't typically have 2 of those in a row.
No, he does not.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch to confirm. Yeah, I got a little sleep apnea going on. I got plenty of health issues. Welcome to getting old.
Give me
stay young, kids.
Give me a Grant Calcaterra tutty this week.
I like it.
I do like it.
Player of the game, I'm gonna go Barkley. I think we run the football. But I want to see Jahan Dotson get more than 3 targets.
I would mind it.
Not that would make him a player of the game getting 3 targets, but it's like, I mean, we traded 3 picks for this guy.
Well, that means he'd have to get his head out of his ass and not have it all be about me, and realize he's a role player on this team.
I think he's doing a lot of the role stuff. I think I'm already forgetting what game it is. Oh, in the Saints game, he was the one who ran the rub route to perfection that got Goddard wide open. I think he's been great in terms of that. But I do think that they're kind of undermining his talent for sure. No doubt. I think he can be a weapon. And he's not running routes to make him a weapon, which kind of goes back to the point of why did we give up assets to get this guy if all he's going to do is that? Paris Campbell could have done that. And especially in an offense where you're missing Dallas Goedert. It's going to be even less when he comes back, you'd presume. Calcaterra is getting way more action than Jahan Dotson. It's not even close.
Yeah, we were so worried that we had to make a move for that third wide receiver, and then we just use him as a decoy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Especially when Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are out, Jahan Dotson was irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we bring here for? I think I think part of it too is what we were talking about earlier. Is handcuffing Hurts because he doesn't throw across the middle of the field at all. Everything's outside.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
and then the other side
is that part of Jalen being. I mean, I know Drew Brees was able to throw it all over the place, being only 6 foot tall. But do you think part of Jalen's reluctance to throw it over the middle is he just simply can't see the whole field, especially when he's in the pocket?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about guys not getting what the hell's going on? When you're talking about guys, this is hard. Getting that guy. But yeah,
I get an echo a lot. My daughter talking back to me.
it's no. Yeah. So yeah, I think part of it is just your quarterback can't throw every throw in the tree. I mean, he can't pick every apple. He's not capable of it. So you're gonna have guys that might not get targets because of that. And then another side of it is if you're gonna throw the ball 20 times a game, you make it hard to spread the wealth, right? So I think there's a little bit of that to it too, which again goes back to the conversation of what do you give up all the assets for? Unless you feel like that decoy brings so much more to you versatility wise than a Paris Campbell, right? That's the only way I can wrap my head around it. Or they thought they'd be able to throw the ball 30, 35 times a game.
I think it's 100% what they thought.
They misjudged the quarterback.
Yep.
And I'm not saying in a negative way. Like they thought they had a guy they can drop back a bunch of times. It's just not who they have. And I think they're slowly adjusting to that. It's not a shot. I know there's gonna be freaking, his legal team flying in. It's not a shot.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts legal team. No, I mean, Tommy, that's that last point you brought up. I mean, not that everything else wasn't spot on, but when you're only throwing the ball 20 times and you have those monsters on the outside already, right? How many targets and balls is there to go to a third wide receiver?
Yeah.
Over the game, right? I mean, he might only get his 3 looks. They also could be playing a very, very long game, right? I talked about Sunday. I'm interested to see what continues to evolve with bringing Ben Van Summerlin in as the fullback for a couple of plays. I'm interested to see how that evolves. Is he just going to be a true fullback in the backfield, or are they playing the long game now and then come end of the year playoffs release into some sort of offensive play or trick play, something like that? Because he was a running back early in his career, at least in college.
Well, I think you're right.
It's similar. Maybe that's what they're doing with Dotson, right? A lot of these motion and gimmicky stuff, and then later in the year, that motion now turns into a jet sweep, or that motion now turns into a quick pass over the middle and let him run and stuff like that. So I because I'm curious as well, right? Like you guys have all mentioned, we gave up assets to get him at that time when you knew maybe you weren't going to be in on Devontae Adams or in on DeAndre Hopkins, but you see what those guys ended up going for, and you're like, we gave up that for Dotson.
Yeah, I get it. I think it sucks because part of it's on the quarterback a little bit. Part of it's on how good is he.
Yeah.
But you made another point, and now I forget it. You made a good point, and when I wanted to touch on it, and I did not touch it. So, no diddy there. No did there.
No diddy.
No, the long game. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks. You're the best. So, when you talk about all that, any good coach, right? You need to learn your personnel. You think you know your personnel. Mm-hmm. I always say this: practice is practice, and I'll never poo-poo what practice is. But I don't know what you do. Truly, know what you do until the lights turn on. I don't know, right? And I don't. And then when you talk about a newer guy that you just got, it takes time to figure out what he does at a high level too. So I think there's all kinds of parts, but I think throughout the whole year, if you're a great coaching staff, you're studying so much of your own film internally to find out what is your identity, what do guys do at a high level, and so on and so forth. So you get where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
Doesn't make like him not getting targets. It's funny we're talking about Jahan Dotson. It's amazing. But it's like I would like for him to be used more. But again, we can't have it both ways because we're not throwing it 30 times a game. So it's just that like catch 22.
No, but I think he's good enough to get one opportunity a game 100%, especially being the third best receiver and really fifth best offensive weapon that you have. He deserves one. No, I just mean in like one of those plays, like those jet sweeps, and maybe they are saving him for later in the season, but I think he deserves one opportunity a game because I believe it was the Browns game where he did get that opportunity and it did break loose for a big play, one that they didn't really have the whole game pretty much. So I think he deserves at least a few opportunities. He doesn't deserve 5 targets a game. I don't think anyone's saying that. He's just not getting anything, which is a little bit surprising.
It's strange.
Yeah.
You know how there's a lot of this coming out. Yep. Penn State Heart flying around. All right.
We are.
Defensive player of the game. Give me Nakobe Dean. I'm going to go 12 tackles, a forced fumble, and a sack.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, he's playing much better football lately, too.
Well, it's we talked about that pick, too. We knew about some of the injury concerns, etc., but we knew what kind of level of player he was, what kind of leader he was, and the captain of that defense. And that's arguably one of the best defenses. I said this a million times, but I'll keep saying it. It's one of the best defenses in the last 2 decades, if not more, in college football. So, he's starting to show being healthy, right? He looks bigger, obviously faster, stronger than he did a year prior. I think we can all agree on that. And man, when he blitzes the quarterback, I like watching it. Mm-hmm. I like watching him stick the running back, like the running back trying to stick him in the hole, and he'll drive guys back. I think he's made like he had that one bad angle on a tackle in the last 3 weeks, which we can say, like, if we go back to previous linebackers, we could say that they did that every quarter.
Yeah.
Or every drive, right?
And if you're around the football that much, you're bound to miss a tackle, right? Yeah. Like, it just happens.
He's been awesome. He's been awesome. It looks to be a home run pick if he can stay on the football field, which, knock on wood, he has. But he looks the part, and I like 2 things about it. And I'll tell you this, competition cream rises to the top. I always say this. I love people say, Tom, why do you always extend your rosters in travel baseball, right? Because if the competition's there, I want everybody to see it. I want them to all be around each other. I don't need you to go be around guys lesser than you. I need you to be around guys a little bit better than you or on the same level to you. So the cream rises to the top here. So when you go out and you sign a Devin White, who's an all-pro, has a resume walking in the door, regardless on how the departure in Tampa happened, there's a resume. And if I'm down to Kobe Dean, I have competition there. Just saying. And if you want it, and you're gonna have it 2 ways. If you want it, you're gonna win the job, and you're gonna be successful. And if you don't want it, and it's poor me, you're no longer on this football team. So that's a great job internally of what they did there. Because now if the guy isn't healthy or et cetera, then Devin White plays, right? But they saw enough in that little bit of time to tell them all they needed to know about the caliber of him. It has nothing to do about Devin White. Devin White can still play in this. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody says. But that's what they think in the Kobe Dean. And I think part of it is giving Devin White a chance to go somewhere and be a starter.
Right.
I think it's a respect thing for the guy too. I think we take that stuff out of the equation when we think about this stuff, but I ain't saying he's fucking Ray Lewis. Martian, I'm telling you that, oh my God, now I'm calling him Ray. Without the knife.
Without the murder.
Without the murder. No.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, take a look at Brandon Graham. Remember way back when he got off to a real slow start his career, right?
Yeah, but he was also a top 10 pick.
Right. I'm sorry?
He was also a top 10 pick.
Right.
So the different strokes for different folks. Earl Thomas is out there fucking nobody covered 2/3 of the.
I still take him.
2/3 of the world's covered. What is it? What's that say? The rest of the world's covered by Earl
2/3
Thomas.
of the 2/3 of the world is covered by water, and the rest is Earl Thomas.
Yeah, the rest is
or Gary Matthews Jr.
Yeah,
or Gary Matthews.
Yeah, I'm just tired. I can't spit that out quickly, but you guys get the message.
Yeah.
So you can make a case that pick was a miss the whole time. Besides the big play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's what put that pick in the past, and he became a great player. Brandon became a great player. So
you sure did. I mean, it took
5
some time,
years. For 5 years, that was the wrong pick.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know why. Yeah, I'm just yelling and screaming at you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's cool, and I think just like the Eagles' patience with Graham certainly have paid off. Paid off with a chip and paid off with him becoming a great Eagle and becoming a great ambassador for the team. And I'm sure he'll do a lot of great things after his career for the Eagles organization. You look at they're patient with Nakobe Dean, bringing him along, and now it's starting to pay dividends. And there's no reason to think that he can go on to become a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker.
Spot on. I think different though, right? Because he's a second round pick,
right?
Right. There's different expectations.
Yep.
The guy I'm going to compare it to is my defensive player of the game. I'm going with Nolan Smith because that's what I would more so compare that to. We were kind of all over him. He was in a crowded defensive line. Every time he got in there, he never really made anything happen. We kind of got on him a lot. Had a lot of pressure coming into this year. Didn't live up to it right away. And now we're starting to see this kind of resurgence of him and now the idea of him. And first, I just want to shout out Cooper DeJean because he's like my guy and I love him. Absolute stud. I wanted to say him. I'm not going to. I'm going to go with Nolan. I think this is the game where we look back on, his career. And I think this is the game. It's like, remember the Kelly Green day when Dougie P came back into town and he had a forced fumble and 2 sacks. He put the league on notice, and he was on the map. I'm King Positivity today. Probably won't be when we talk about the Sixers, but for now, I'm King Positivity. So I'm all for Nolan Smith being the guy that they're patient on and bring up along the process.
Yeah,
but Luke, you're dead.
I might still say it's a miss in 3 years. But
yeah, totally. I
agree with you though.
I'm drinking the juice. I'm drinking the juice.
No, it's fine with the Georgia guys. It's okay to drink the Georgia juice. There ain't nothing wrong with it, babe. We watched it. We watched them suffocate everybody in the fucking SEC and in college football. They suffocated people. We had their defense. We literally have all their pieces that suffocated people.
Yep.
We even got a guy on the bench in Kelly Ringo. We got the whole suffocation team. It's amazing. A bunch of plastic bags that were just thrown over people's faces. We got Jalen Carter, who we don't even talk about, and he's been really good. I think he's in a little bit of a sophomore slump, a little bit, but he's still really good.
I just think teams are saying we are going to double team you and dare your edge rushers to beat us every single time.
Agreed.
It feels like 99% of the time he gets a one-on-one. He ends up in the quarterback's face every single time. So I think a lot of it relies on guys like Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith to get there. For them to say, all right, we're going to show them. We're going to start chipping them, show a little double team over there. He can eat one-on-one. He needs that. He needs more help.
The big thing is Vic started bringing 5.
Yeah.
Vic started saying, you know what, I'm going to dial up pressure at times. And anything in sports, it's a contagious thing. Getting to the quarterback, it's contagious. We watched it in 2022, right? Whole team was getting sacks.
Yeah.
So I think once you start getting pressure, more guys get involved in the party. I don't know.
I was going to say Jalen Carter for mine, but I think I'm going to go Brandon Graham. Kelly Green jerseys. Going against Dougie P. He likes to talk smack. I think he'll be fired up. He's going to be talking smack to Dougie P all game. I just think he makes a big play, whether it's a fumble, 3 sacks, who knows? I just think he's all over the place.
He's playing more like he's in the prime of his career than his 15th year in the NFL. I'll tell you what, he's looking pretty good.
Well, it looks like a guy who's going to be getting a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy that has to come back on a 1-year deal, like $8.5 million, and he's got 4 or 5 kids at home, and he probably ain't turning that down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at this point of his career, you make as much as you can get on your way out.
Lavelle from any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Coming back with the concussion issue.
Well, we talk. No, real quick. I want you to give your defensive player of the game, but I don't want to forget about something I want to talk about a former player here when we talk about quickly the trade deadline. I got a guy. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Defensive player of the game. Give me the pick 6. Give me Quinyon Mitchell.
Cute.
Here we go.
First one of his career to the house.
Yep. Give me a breakout. I mean, he's played very well so far in his rookie year here, but give me a statement game.
I like it.
Give me my Ed Reed Blankenship.
Oh,
I like it.
Oh, there you go.
Whites are back.
As Wilson would say.
In the backfield, in the defensive backfield. They're back.
Right.
So, we're going to talk.
You sure he's not Jason Sehorn's kid?
We can talk about Trayvon Walker and other names you could try to go out and get. But they did it in 2022, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again. The defensive tackle position. Would you be surprised if Fletcher Cox suits up at some point this year?
Yes.
I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
Do you know something? Is there like hints and rumors?
No, I wish I could tell you. Like, I got a guy.
I don't know.
It wouldn't shock me.
Little Indomitius Sue come back week 12.
That's where I was going. Like, I was going like, he seems like a guy. Listen, I don't know Fletcher. I met Fletcher a couple of times. I'm not friends with him, but he seems like a guy that might have gone through some money quick too, even though he's made a ton. I mean, these guys go through money quick, dude. They're different spenders. He was a single guy for a long time. We've heard about some of his stories.
We have heard it.
I just think he might have, he might have dropped a dime or two. That's all I'm saying, and he could probably make a couple of bucks back.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can only go on so many duck hunting trips. I mean, hell.
I think they don't. I'm not telling you Fletcher Cox spent all his money. I'm not doing it. People will be like, "Oh, Tom Arnold said, Fletcher spent all his money." That's not what I'm saying. I think guys could always use more, and guys always get the itch when they're away.
When they're
like,
yeah, that's true.
That first year's tough, where you can like, hey, $2.5 million, or like whatever it is, $250,000 for the rest of the year. Like, guy will probably say, "Yeah, I'll do that," especially if he's got a chance for a Super Bowl. So I don't know. Just a thought.
I wouldn't hate the idea.
Yeah.
I don't think they make any trades.
It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one.
Anything at all, Tommy?
I think an edge rusher's coming here. I like the name Trey Hendrickson a lot. That's my favorite name. You talk about Bengals who seemingly with the whole T. Higgins thing going on and just, historically around their franchise, they don't typically pay guys a bunch, especially when you're talking about a group of or team themselves, a team to be going downhill. That's a name I'm all over. Is Trey Hendrickson. I don't know what his contract is like, but
you got that right, Luke. They're not backing up the Brinks truck in Cincinnati. That's for damn sure. Talk about small market.
Yeah,
I mean, star players don't stay there very long.
No,
I just don't see. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I can see a D tackle. Like, I can see a D. Like, if you're asking me moves, like I'm telling you, Greg. Like, I don't see a big splash coming.
Oh, I understand that.
But I could see a D tackle come in, like a veteran. Because you're a little light there at times.
Yeah, I feel like you're way more light on the edge than you are at D tackle. I like a Jomo a lot, Milton Williams and Jordan Davis. I mean, there's 4 guys that
I feel like Milton's
constantly
hurt a little bit though.
Yeah, but I think there's so much more of a need on the edge. Like, they're just so inconsistent. Like
Trey
Josh
Hendrickson.
Sweat, I feel like we haven't talked about him in weeks.
Yeah, but you paid. But the problem is you got two guys that you paid money to out there.
Right. So I'm not saying they're going to go and trade for Max Crosby, but I think they're going to bring somebody in here because especially now with the way that the contracts all work, it's like, hey, if you pay this certain percentage of his salary and I only have to take on a little bit, yeah, let's get this done. So I think it's something like that, kind of like a Robert Quinn case. I don't think Trey Hendrickson's coming here. But I think it's just a name. I think they're just going to add another name to the room.
20 sacks. We get
Dexter Lawrence could happen.
It may the name Trey Hendrickson makes sense because it's not a rental, right? It's a 2-year deal.
So
he's got
name.
Huh?
I would love this name.
Dexter
Lawrence. I agree.
Oh my, there's no chance of that. There's no
chance.
shot of that. I don't know.
Barkley could call him up right now.
Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis and a second doesn't get that done.
No, if you're the Giants general manager and you just let Saquon Barkley walk out and you're going to let literally your next best player walk out the door, you basically just don't, you're trying to get fired. It doesn't matter for who or to who or for what.
Yeah, you're punting.
You can't do it.
Well, I
He's
think
too young. He's
I
too
think
young
they're
to do that.
How old is he? I don't know exactly.
24 anyway.
He's
all right. Then if I roll you out, another 24-year-old to play the same position, not as good. Hold on, not as good, right? And I give you a first, and I give you a third. I'm sure you're talking.
I think the owner would again be
26.
Like, what are we selling? It'd be like a Sixers scenario. What are we doing? Who's playing?
He'll be 27 in 2 weeks.
I'll take Clowney. Clowney is like the perfect name that's like big enough, but
why we're in Carolina? What are your thoughts on Adam Thielen?
Old.
I just don't think they can dip the resources into that position. I don't think they can do it. I think they overspend on Dotson.
A game. They bucket throw the ball 20 times a
game. Yeah, they overspend on Dotson. Maybe I could see like a low-key tight end. I could see maybe a low-key tight end possibly.
We're the biggest fake it till you make it team in the country. Like we're gonna roll out 4 deep wide receivers to run the ball. You got Dotson and you got Thielen, and we threw it 20 times.
No, the reason I brought up Dotson, didn't Devontae Adams get traded for like a 3rd-round pick?
Yes.
Yes, and we traded 3 picks for Dotson. Like Amari Cooper just got traded too. I don't know how many picks was in that, but it's not 3.
Where did Cooper end up going?
Yeah, we traded 3
Buffalo.
picks.
Yes, 3 picks. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
We got a pick back too, I think, but yes, we did. We gave up a 3rd and a 7th, or 3rd and 2 7ths, I believe.
7s can go.
And I think we got a 6, something like that. Something on the lines of that. Either way, a 3rd-round pick is a lot in today's NFL to trade.
For sure.
He's no Devontae Adams. That's all I'm saying.
No, he's definitely not. But maybe Devontae Adams isn't Devontae Adams anymore.
I just think he's on the Jets, and it's just that's how that works.
Eagles get Dotson in a 5th round in 2025 and give up a 3rd pick and 2 7ths in 2025.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so to get a 5th back, I think is
there's recency bias. Like hindsight's 20/20. I'm just saying you gave up 3 picks, and he's done nothing. I mean, he's done nothing. Has he had over 20 yards in any game?
No.
I don't think so.
He's done nothing.
No. Maybe he got fleeced. All right, let's get into
conditional 3rd for Adams. So I don't know what the exact conditions are, but conditional 3rd. And then D-Hop went for very little.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. At this point of his career.
Right. But again, I think all better than Dotson right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean.
A conditional 5th that could become a 4th at most.
I bet you if Dotson played for the Jets, he would have over 20 yards a game. And their offense stinks. But
I don't know about that. I also find it a little coming from a Jahan guy because he's a Penn State guy. I love him. But even coming from that point of view, Washington was so free to just give him up to a division rival out of nowhere, too.
Especially he was a former first-round pick.
It's
and they're
weird.
just saying see it. So there's got to be something there that we don't know.
He can't play.
Yeah, I mean, they could. Yeah.
Could
They might have just missed.
I mean, they can't play.
He's not Aguilar or Rager that year, where it's just like play after play, he's screwing up. I mean, this guy's not.
No, he had a good rookie year.
Wow, Washington missing on a pick. There's a surprise. I think they've whiffed on a pick half my lifetime.
I think some of it is a new offense, a new situation. You're the third wide receiver. Like, it's chemistry with a quarterback. He likes to only throw to certain guys. I mean, he's pretty.
Oh,
clear.
that is
he's
no doubt
with that.
True.
So
yes.
I don't think anything happened to him. I don't necessarily think we missed on the trade. I don't know how much clearer I can be on where my stance is with shit. Like, I'm not telling you that we went out and got Devontae Adams, but I'm telling you, we went out and got a guy who should be able to have, like, give me any pocket guy in today's, like, any spinner of the football, right? If he's playing with Kirk Cousins, he's probably getting 3 for 50 every game. It's a different style quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Flacco.
Great Flacco guy.
He's getting 3 for 75 because he's hit a deep ball at one point.
Yeah.
With Joey Flax, former teammate. Now I'm using them. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say you just slid that right in there. Just we slide this across the table here.
Putting my stuff on the table. Any of them, even Herbert, who stinks right now. Right. But like any of those guys who are just like tight windows, over the middle, gunslinger types, he would get those numbers.
Throwers.
Yeah. It's just the only thing Jalen throws with anticipation is the out. Like, no, the comebacker, the quick slant, which really doesn't develop far, right? It's 3 steps out, okay? And the fly route.
And the go ball, yeah.
The go ball. That's Jalen's throws in his tree that he does the best. Now, like people bring up, well, Devontae over the middle. That's not necessarily over the middle. That's a crossing route, and he's wide open. There's no anticipation with that throw. He did make a throw last week that was really good, where I thought he threaded the needle to AJ, and it might have been a third down, but
third down conversion.
Yeah, he split 2 guys in the secondary, and they're the kind of balls I need to see, which I believe he can do. Like, you know what I mean? This isn't like a lack of talent; it's a lack of doing it, right? It's a lack of trust. Playing the quarterback position is trust, right? It's believing what I see and being able to trust it, and that takes time, and you have to do it for a while.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to make him do it at the NFL level is hard. The fact that he's gotten this much better just shows you that he does have the big work ethic. It's just a hard muscle memory shit. Like, it's hard. You're changing your whole game as a quarterback? No. Let's do this smarter. Let's change parts of your game. Let's make you be able to stay in the pocket at times. But when you don't see what you got, get out of Dodge. Because I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that is going to go and throw to his 4th progression.
No.
So why make him? This is where Dotson comes in. You understand what I'm saying, guys? It all just circles back. Like, if he's not going to go through 3 progressions, well, that's going to hurt whoever the third wide receiver is.
Yep.
He doesn't go through them. So I don't know if anybody out there is watching something fucking different, let me know. Again, I'm not saying Jalen Hurts isn't a damn good quarterback. When you use him to the guy he can be and the athlete that he is, he's damn good, and you'll win a lot of football games. You got to be willing to accept it. That's it. We've had enough sample size. You got to be willing to accept it and be okay with it organizationally and as a dry jock fan. And stop comparing him to everybody else. Compare him to the similarity guys. Compare him to what Lamar does. Compare him to what guys like that do. He's a Swiss Army knife at the quarterback position.
No, you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. I don't even want to talk about Jahan Dotson too much. I'm just saying the 2 weeks that we didn't have Brown or Devontae Smith, that's not his 4th progression. That should be his 1st or 2nd. It's just interesting to me. He just must not have the talent we thought he did.
or the trust isn't there between those two, which would make a lot of sense. One, I'm sure in practice, Jalen isn't going through all his progressions, so you don't get the chemistry there. But I agree with you. In we think in Tampa, Mike, you think in Tampa, you're like, Jahan, like player of the game, coming out party, 5 for 80, right? Whatever it is, like, just something. And that was the worst performance at the quarterback position I've seen in a while from Jalen Hurts.
I was begging for anything in Tampa. Jesus. That was a brutal game.
Well, you got
that's our kryptonite. Tampa's always been our kryptonite.
They'd probably beat us right now, and they got nobody.
Dude, Tampa's given me nightmares since the end of the 0-2 season. Enough said. Yeah, I was at the vet.
That's what I'm saying, Cotton. Like, I don't give a shit what he is as long as we win. It's amazing that we got into Jahan Dotson for like 25 minutes.
I know, I'm sorry.
No. Welcome to the party, Mike. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. So you're not doing nothing wrong here. You're just we get something, so put on our desk, and sometimes we open it and we just go with it. And here we are. You know what I mean? Back to the full circle and sliding across the table.
They want Walker Bueller into this game.
Shut up, Martian. Shut up. All right, Martian. You just want to talk about how the Sixers aren't good enough. We know. Let's talk about them, boys. Let's get into them.
Segue talk.
Segue. I didn't mean that like that, but yeah. So, Luke, Mike, Greg doesn't watch. All right. No, I can't even answer that. I feel like I'm not even gonna say he turns on an NBA game. It's just bad news. I think. I think it's just bad news. He just wants to go back to the 80s. He misses 90s basketball.
Where's the defense?
Yeah.
Why don't they take a charge?
It's not Nova style basketball.
No.
But then the guys I know that are watching.
Look for the high percentage shot.
We're not getting that. What are we watching?
Luke, you want to start it up?
Yeah, I just think you're watching an organizational failure. And the reason you can tell it's organizational is through the coach who they drag out there every day at a press conference. And he looks completely miserable.
He doesn't know the company line that particular day or hour.
Yeah, so you get a coach out there every day in a press conference that looks completely miserable. And you can take it a whole bunch of different ways. And I think there's a lot of people out there. There's a group of people who are actually mad at him. Now, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I'm going to disagree with you because no one really knows the true story of what's happening because they are not transparent about anything. So we don't know what the real thing is going on or anything like that. I will say this, based off of what is coming out in practice and who is practicing and who is not playing in the game, the very last person that I'm going to throw under the bus for this, especially after watching his press conference every day, is Nick Nurse. You know why? Because every single day in practice, it's, hey, he played in a few scrimmages today. Paul George, he's running the steps. He's doing all these things. He's playing in all these sets in practice. Then you get there on a game and they are not running any sets at all. It's Tyrese Maxey bail me out on every possession. They just made the Pistons today in 2024 look like they were the bad boy Pistons defensively. They scored 93 points against them. They are not running sets. Why is that? Nick Nurse is saying to himself every day, hey, I'm hearing from above. They're coming back soon. So I'm going to work my sets in practice so that when they get on the court, I want it to look the way I want it to look, how we prepare for it. But when I go out there on a game day and then you push back the day he's going to come back, the product I put out on the court for the fans that pay the tickets and everything like that, we're not even prepared to play that way because I'm told each and every day in practice, hey, they're coming soon. You can practice them. Paul George will run steps. Let me tell you something. I'm not here to bash the NBA. Running up and down flights of steps like that in an arena is probably just as hard as suiting up in an NBA game, especially, I don't mean to take a shot. Just saying. If he's throwing up and playing in practice and then post-practice is running up steps, I think he's okay enough to go out there and play. So I don't know what the reasoning for that is. And you go and you bring out your coach each and every day in a press conference who clearly is miserable. And he doesn't know what to tell you because he hears it from there. Hey, they're going to play when they're ready. When is it? I have no freaking idea. That's basically what's going on. And it's a joke.
Yeah. Another thing I want to dive into that's a joke. I want to go even higher than the coach. I want to go Josh Harris. The owner is a dope. Okay, he owns the Washington Commanders, the New Jersey Devils, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, he's a dope. It's a money grab, and so is Joel Embiid. You extended this guy 3 years, $193 million, and the Sixers are talking too much. Ownership's talking too much. They're saying he's not going to play back-to-backs possibly for the rest of his career. Okay, then why are we extending him 3 years, $193 million? For loyalty? Okay, I get it if he accomplished something.
In seats.
I get it if he accomplished something in his career, but he hasn't in reality. He won MVP. Cool. Okay, I don't want to bash the guy too much. I know how much talent he has, but at the end of the day, this is a business. Okay, like he's not getting it done in the playoffs. He's not healthy in the playoffs, and you expect people to not get rubbed the wrong way when you're playing for the Olympics, for his country, winning a gold medal just so you can win something in your career, and then you're not ready to show up for work on day one. Now zoom out. This is what we've wanted. I want him to sit. I want him to be ready for the playoffs. I don't care if he sits half the season and pulls a Kawhi Leonard just like Nick Nurse did that one year when Kawhi Leonard was Michael Jordan and they won the finals because he missed half that year. I get the strategy, okay? But to extend 3 years, $193 million for a guy who's never going to play back-to-backs again, it's a joke. It's all a money grab, and Josh Harris just wants to put butts in seats. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
and they're trying to get this new stadium.
I said this to my dad too, Mike. I think you can go two ways with that extension. It makes it easier to deal.
Totally.
So
way easier.
There's two methods. You're not everything you said spot on, both of you two. Like nailing shit. Love it. That's the only thing I'll say that you maybe could go both ways with. That extension can be easily dealt, right? Easier than if he's on a 1-year deal, just on what you're going to get back if you decide to move on from him. And then obviously every year that deal's a little cheaper. But I agree with you guys. I mean, we'll start with Luke. Like Luke, first point, like the fact that you're running sets in practice catered to your starters who aren't your starters during game day is going to equal a bad product.
Totally.
Right. And that's no brainer. One thing I'm not going to put anything on Nick Nurse because I do think he's a damn good coach who's in a bad situation right this minute. And I think the situation's worse just because on who we are and what we've went through. If it was anywhere else, it's like the first time they're doing it, people would be like, whatever. Right. They've exhausted every option with Joel Embiid. I guess this is where they're at now. To both your guys' points, I'm not a fan of it one bit. I don't really care about the back-to-backs. Like, he doesn't need to play them. That doesn't affect me, but I need him playing in 50, 55 games a year minimum if I'm paying him this kind of money, right? I need 55 games. I need that production. If not, look at me. I'm 1-4. I'm not going to be a playoff team.
Well, this is the part that's funny for me as a fan is I'm steeping as low as to only ask the organization to say, hey, you can sit Joel Embiid as long as you want, as long as you make that message clear with me. But the other thing that I want, which is what every other team in the entire NBA is getting, is the team on the court is the team I want prepared to play. That's it. And you're not letting your coach do your job the more you fake pretend, hey, Embiid and Paul George are going to be in. We're ramping it up. They're practicing. They're doing this. You're not giving your coach an opportunity to do his job. And every day he's trotted out there, you just see it on his face that he cannot even do his job, even without those guys here. They're not even giving him that opportunity. It's like just such an organizational failure.
Without a doubt. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
No, you're good. I was just saying, another problem with Embiid that no one talks about. He would never, ever play 15 minutes tonight against the Detroit Pistons because it would hurt his career averages. He cares so much about getting his 30 points a game. That's all the guy cares about. That's why you see him diving for loose balls and flopping in mid-December against the Detroit Pistons because he wants his 30 points. He wants his 10 rebounds. He cares so much about the statistics. He came out and said, I don't care about accolades or MVPs or any of that. It's nonsense. He cares about the 30 points a game. He might not care about getting to the requirement games played for the MVPs and stuff like that anymore since he won one. But as far as the 30 and 10 and being a league scorer, he cares so much about that. You'll never catch him playing 15, 20 minutes tonight. His minute restriction might be 25 minutes. And then if he's at 28 points, he's going to exceed that. And Nick Nurse caters to that. He lets him get his 30 points. I mean, if he could just play 15 minutes tonight, his presence makes the team so much better. And the only thing about Nick Nurse I'm not a fan of, he has a love affair for KJ Martin and Kyle Lowry. Okay. I like Lowry. He's a veteran. I get the presence. Okay. He's 5 years too late. I get he won a championship 5 years ago. He's not the same player.
Yeah.
I need Reggie Jackson to get minutes. And as far as KJ Martin, that guy stinks. He has no business getting quality NBA minutes. He's undersized. We play him at the 4 and he's 6'5". He doesn't do anything well. He shot 50% from the free throw line last year. 50% from the free throw line. You're a professional basketball player and you're 6'5". You're not Andre Drummond. And we're treating him like he is by playing him at the 4. And the last point, Andre Drummond, best backup big in the league. He's now your starter. So we don't even have a backup big. We filled the void of a backup big by now making that backup big the starter. So we're small. This team is just small. I like Yabusele. I like all the additions Morey's made, but we're a small team. Like Yabusele's not a backup 5. He's just not. He's a good 4. He's not a 5.
Yeah, they're in a tough situation right now. Like I said, they had like Paul George playing, they'd be in a lot better of a situation. Like one, Maxi's not ready to have the keys.
I don't even think that's even fair to say. And I understand where you're coming from, but I just think it's so unfair to stick a guy in practice every single day playing next to Joel Embiid and Paul George. And then when he's out to battle against another NBA team that's watching film of only him, he's now playing new coverages, playing next to Caleb Martin, KJ Martin, and Andre Drummond. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke. And I don't even think that's fair. Because he can't work on these things. He can't get better. The only thing he can do is watch film. They're not running this stuff in practice. He's getting guarded 94 feet by all these guys and all these different teams. It's happened 4 different times so far this season. They can't even rep that in practice because they forced Joel Embiid and Paul George to be there and participate.
Well, I that's my argument. You said force. I think my problem with him carrying is forcing. Like, I think he's forcing stuff. That's all. I just think he's trying too much to like carry it. When, I think if you let his foot off the gas a little bit, stuff will come to him a little bit more. But I don't disagree with anything you said. I mean, it's spot on. Different coverages and different things he's seeing, and he's practicing with different guys and going out in the game with some traffic cones. It's not ideal, no question. I just don't know. Like, my point is, like, I don't think he's carrying a team to the playoffs as like a 5 seed by himself. I just don't think he's there yet. But if you just put Paul George with him there, Luke, to your point, I think then we see it. I think if you just had another wingmate who could like take some of the pressure off of him, and I think that goes around the league. Right? It'd be unfair to say Tyrese Maxey can have the keys to the car and take you to an NBA Finals. It's not fair the way the league's set up either. So, he's a damn good player, but I just think if he had either one of them with him, he wouldn't be shooting 2 for 10 from 3, right? That's all my point is. He would be way more efficient like he usually is. Just, it's hard to, and I might have spoke out of line there, but like, it's hard for a 24-year-old kid to go lead a team that is missing 2 stars. It's just not. I think it's an unfair ask. And
he can't even practice like he's playing without the 2 stars. Imagine that. Imagine being on, because at least last year when they were missing Embiid, he was hurt enough where he couldn't practice. So at least they were repping things, and you saw him get better without them there. They weren't great, but they were still getting better because they allowed Nick Nurse to actually coach the team. It's a little bit different.
No, that's great insight thinking about it that way too.
But the other thing I'll say is, because I heard it all summer, I heard shit all summer about McCain. The only spark in the entire game was when they subbed him in. He's looked very, very, very strong with the ball for a rookie at this young. That's very promising to me. The question was, can he get his own shot? That was really the main question with him being that small out in an NBA court. He looks very, very strong with the ball this young and this early in his career. That's big positive. Plus, you look across this draft class, horrible. It's safe to say I think we've got one of the better guys.
Yeah, it's good. No, but that, like I said, that thought process on practice, tells a story.
We're talking about practice.
It tells a story.
Not a game. I mean,
these guys are practicing. They're not playing the game. So they're doing the opposite.
Doing the opposite.
Opposite AI. They're just
they're practicing.
Yeah.
I mean, think of this. Imagine, go down the road to February or something, and you bought, $200 worth of tickets, and you're ready. You want to take your kid down to a game, and you don't even know who's going to play that night. You know what I'm saying?
That's on you. I mean, it. What do we like? The fan thing. Opening night. I agree with. Opening night. I agree with everybody. I understand that. That's fair. You all know the track record.
Yeah.
Buyer beware. I'm not like you're gonna get upset because I take my 4-year-old, soon to be 4-year-old, to a fucking game, and Joel ain't playing, and I'm gonna fucking hoot and holler because he didn't get to see him. I'm taking him for the experience.
Right. No, I agree.
Now I got a 12-year-old that's all he talks about is Joel. Well, we got bigger problems. That's all he talks about is Joel, right? Because he's probably soft. But if I'm taking to a game and Joel ain't playing, why be mad? Sure, of course, for a second. But it's the experience. So but buyer beware. You're buying Sixers tickets. The organization has been doing it for a decade. So anything that surprises us, I think we're just assholes at this point.
I'm not surprised at all.
All fair points. But this goes more to the deeper point that the NBA is such a flawed product. And they'll never do this. But how about, imagine if they took the regular season and said, instead of playing 82 games, we're going to play 40. Do you think it's a better product?
Yes, but I think the only reason they don't do that is because they're obsessed with guys playing
because of money.
They're obsessed with the games where Anthony Edwards goes against Jason Tatum and the Celtics, and they're all over that.
You know what you do? You want to play in the playoffs? You have to play 55 plus games.
That's fair.
We'll make it a better product.
Freak injury. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Then your postseason.
You're telling me that opening night Gordon Hayward snapped his leg if he came back, we're gonna punish him?
Yeah, no, I don't think that would ever work.
Yeah,
but what I'm curious too is why does Reggie Jackson get DMPs across the board? Reggie Jackson last year was the backup point guard for the Nuggets. He started 23 games. He played all 82 games last year. He started 23 games, and in 22 minutes a game, he averaged 10 points. The guy scores. He's constantly a DMP because Nick Nurse is buddy with Kyle Lowry. I just don't get it. I like Lowry, don't get me wrong, but it's the constant DMP, especially when you're down 20 to the Pistons, who Jackson played for. It's his former team. I don't get it. You're down 20 to the Pistons. Let's try something else. Let's mix it up. I mean, Council got 6 minutes. Yep. 2 of them were in complete garbage time. So really, he played 4 minutes.
We can all agree Lowry's not the same player.
Oh, you're spot on, though. You got Reggie Jackson for a reason.
He should be getting time over KJ Martin, to your point earlier, too, right? I didn't watch the game, but I looked at the box score and I'm like, how do we get blown out at home? And Reggie Jackson doesn't see the floor.
Thanks, Liar.
The KJ Martin thing is totally organizational. They're trying to prop him out there and trade him. That's their idea with him. I'd rather Ricky Council play than him. But in terms of the Reggie thing, I think Reggie deserves to be playing on a team like this where it's less game plan and more so how can we score? You know what I mean? How can we get to 100 points? But I think on a team with Embiid and Paul George, I actually do think Kyle Lowry is a much better veteran to come off your bench in terms of what they need next to those guys. But on this kind of team, Kyle Lowry gives you a little bit, but nothing that Reggie gives you in terms of how are we even going to score 100 points tonight? Because if Maxey doesn't score 35, I need 65 more points somehow.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. Kevin White for the Sixers. That's why I feel like Reggie should be getting minutes. I don't even care Like, I like Kyle Lowry too, and he's probably a better fit, whatever, right? That all sounds good until he's not.
He's actually been playing pretty well. I don't think he's been playing bad. It's just
no, I just like Reggie
now.
Jackson.
Yeah.
This is like a Reggie Jackson celebration. That's
I think they could play together totally.
Yeah.
But they gave
McCain
McCain the shot today.
Yeah, they do have a lot of guards though, too.
Yeah. They gave the young guy the shot first. And
No,
he played
like
well. I'm happy with how he played.
I like McCain, but I think it comes down to what Luke said. Luke hit it on the head. Lowry might be a better player and a better fit for when you have George and Embiid, but we don't. Like, Lowry's not going to give you 25. Reggie Jackson could, if you gave him 30 minutes, he could score 25. He did it last year. Yeah. He made DeAndre Jordan look like it was 2012 again last year in a game we started with the Nuggets. He had like 25 and 10.
I think Reggie Jackson's a ball player. I don't know. Kyle Lowry or not. Like, I don't know how Reggie Jackson doesn't get minutes, even when those guys are back. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't want that type of firepower offensively with those guys. Like, I think we can look at it two ways. You want the fits defensively with them, right? But you also want to score, and you also want to be elite scoring. And I think the more guys that can beat guys off the dribble, create their own shots, stuff like that, like what Reggie can do still. Right.
Reggie's great. Well, that's why I think he's better with this team, because it's a lot more, hey, who can create your own shot on this team? But I think in a team where Paul George and Embiid are on it, it's going to be a lot of, hey, can you spot up and make this open three-pointer when Embiid, swings the ball in a double team? And I think that's where guys like McCain and Lowry are a bit more fit for those positions. But right now, when you got nothing and you can't even run sets because you don't practice, it's really about who's scoring, and he definitely deserves to play.
Yeah, I just want the KJ Martin love affair to end.
Yeah,
I don't get that. What does he do well? It's almost like they're like forcing him to play so someone will take him and we could trade him for something.
Oh, that's 100% what they're doing. I think they're trying to, come up with film. This is what all these guys up top do. They're going to come up with film and send it to other teams and say, hey, this is what he does great. And take a chance on this young player, see what happens, and give me like a team like the Nets who can eat $7 million. And I say, hey, what does it take to get Dorian Finney-Smith? I know you're not trying to win anything. And if a trade like that makes a ton of sense, I think.
Yeah. And I think McCain definitely needs more run because they need more scoring. That's the problem. I mean, Maxi's taking all these shots because nobody else is. I mean, we're praising Kyle Lowry. He played 20 minutes tonight. He took 3 shots. He had 3 points.
Yes, that
1 for 3. I don't mind you having 3 points, but give me a 1 for 9. As crazy as it sounds, like 1 for 3, you're out there doing nothing. You're getting cardio. And McCain's going to put up shots and he could score. And that's the only reason why I'm preaching for Jackson, because I know Reggie Jackson's going to shoot the ball. If Reggie Jackson played 20 minutes, he's taking 10 shots. He just is. That's the problem. They need scores, really, when it comes down to it. I mean, Drummond doesn't really score. Caleb Martin doesn't really score. He's a really good role player for a playoff team, but without Embiid and George, you're not a playoff team. So it's just weird. I think they have a bunch of role players. Like Oubre hasn't been shooting efficiently. I love Oubre. When he's your 5th, 6th best player, he's a beast. When he's your 2nd, that's the problem.
Yeah, but I also think that's what we know too. Like, we know this. So like through the struggle, it's like we expect the struggle, right? Because we're without so much firepower. But to your guys' points, like guys like Reggie who can get you instant offense, guys like that, you should be playing it in these moments. They're obviously not for whatever reason. But when are these guys coming back? Because that's when the whole conversation changes and guys start to fit in their roles. And I think this team's really good when they're all together. We haven't seen it yet, but I don't know how they're not better. Like, just trying to be positive through a couple minutes here. I just don't know how they're not better. Like the spacing, the little things we're talking about, it's all there. It's all there. I mean, you have 3 guys who can get you 30 a night on a given night. You have 3 different guys that still have the capability of doing that. PG maybe not as much as Maxey and Embiid can, but he's still a guy who can give you 25. He's a guy who can carry you, unlike Tobias. Say whatever we want about Paul George. He's a guy who can carry a basketball team. He's done it in his career at a point. Regardless of how long that point was, he's done it. He's had playoff success. He's had playoff failure. but he's way better than Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
And Caleb Martin's way better than anything else we were throwing out there last year. And then you add an Oubre, you have a Maxey, you have it, and then you go to the bench, right? Like, it's a really good team. I would love to see it play together.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about practice.
The longer that this draws out, you're giving yourself no room for error at all once they come back. Say this lasts, because no one knows anything as far as when they come back. Say this lasts the first 10 games of the season. So then you say, okay, at best it's a 72-game season, plus the back-to-backs he's not going to play. You're really only getting a few games anyway. Who's to say that in those few games he doesn't get hurt? What if he gets hurt in one of those games? And then you have to play even less games. Guess what? The team you're watching right now might have to be the team that gets you enough wins to even make the playoffs, because I know that's what everyone's worried about. So you're just giving yourself no margin for error, which is why I have a problem with this happening in the beginning of the season. Why? What were you doing the last few months? Let's rest games in the middle of the season. Let's not, hey, here comes this new era, the Paul George era. Wait, why no one's playing?
Or again, play 15 minutes. Play 15 minutes and score 10 points. We lost.
I don't think any NBA player would do that nowadays.
No, that's a sad part, though. You want to win.
Sixers isn't fair, though. I just can't keep it fair tonight. The PG not playing isn't fair on the Sixers. That's not. They didn't hyperextend his knee in preseason when
they made it. But here's where it gets tricky, and this is where it's interesting. They see him as a guy that they spent $200 million on, and he tweaked his knee, and they came out with something. Hey, he should be okay to go Wednesday of last week. We're talking about this is the team saying this. He should be okay to go. We're going to reevaluate him 2 days before the game of the season, the first game of the season. We expect him to go. And now we're a week later, and there's still no signs of when the hell he's going to play. That's where it's it kind of is the team.
Don't worry. He'll be in there by April.
You're not transparent with anybody.
He wasn't expected to play game one after hyperextension. They said they're going to reevaluate him. We all knew. We all talked about on Wednesday. We weren't expecting him to play, right? Not Monday morning.
But he goes out on his podcast the day after the injury.
You're deeper than this with me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He comes out the day after his podcast on his injury. I'm very happy how everything looks. I'm okay. I should be back sooner rather than later. We're talking 2 weeks ago. This is the team. They are doing this. They are doing this. And you can tell based off the coach. He comes in there. He has no answers for anybody. And it's not like he's the poster man, the yes man, being I don't know what to, he looks miserable. He looks like he is getting lied to day in and day out. I don't know that. I'm just seeing what I'm watching. And it looks that way.
I just, like I said, it's sad because Noah said it. No one in the NBA is going to do it. But play 15 minutes and score 10 points. Who cares about the averages? That's why I love guys like Anthony Edwards. He'll play with one arm, one hand. He'll score 10 points. He'll score 2 points. He'll be out there. Just play. I'm not asking you to log 40 minutes. Log 15 minutes. Help us win. We're going to be, before you know, we're going to be 1-10. Realistically.
Mike, you're spot on.
Because if you're out there, then the opposition needs to account for you.
Yeah, so we talked about more hey, why can't you go play 25? Instead of playing 30. Yeah, instead of playing 30.
You know how that works, though. And then he's going that.
But he's a point per minute guy, though. He could get 25 and 25. It's what he's done his whole career.
Yeah, I don't think that the minute conversation kind of applies in the NBA. Just because we all know how that turns out. Once you start playing, you warm up, you go to shoot around. There's such a process that gets into even being eligible to play. At that point, it's all right, it's a close game. I want to log 30 minutes. I'm not coming out here to play 15 minutes. I don't think anyone would do that in the NBA.
Well, then
that's what we want out of him. I want that.
And that's what would happen if he were to try to play. That's what happened in the beginning of his career during that
recently.
The minute restriction.
Last year they did it.
Yeah, it was the same. It happens every time they do a minute restriction. It never works out.
So my question for the panel is, at what point is his talent just not enough? Because this guy has brought so many distractions. I love him to death. He made us relevant again. He's one of the most. He probably will be the most special talent to ever put on a Sixers uniform. Doesn't mean he was a winner, but as far as just talent and scoring the basketball and doing it at 3 levels, we're probably never going to see anybody like him. But at what point is that just not enough? Because it's been nothing but distractions, and it's been nothing but injuries, and it's been nothing but nonsense.
Yeah,
it was enough last year.
It was
enough last year.
Yeah.
Well, I
Noah's
disagree
gonna go
with
back
you.
in revisionist history and talk about the 90s right now, like he just started to do. And I'm gonna keep it as current as possible. I would have made the move this summer. And I'm the biggest Joel guy around. Nobody's defending him more than Tom Arnone, talking in the third person. Okay, but it's the facts. You could have got a U-Haul. You could have got fucking 10 U-Hauls dropped off at your house.
Still think you can. I still think you
players
can.
and picks.
I think the answer to that
this
question.
This is the last run. This is
it. This is it.
And they know it's it, Mike
Yep.
and Luke. And this is why they're operating like they are. Because they know we're just going to protect the asset. We're going to try to tread water. He's going to play in enough games where we're going to win enough. And we're going to get in at like a 6 seed. And it doesn't matter what your seeding is as long as you're not in a playing game, right? And we're going to go from there. And that's exactly how they're looking at it. They're playing scared, they're playing cautious, and they're playing that we've tried it all. We've exhausted every option. Yeah. So how can we protect the fucking Mack truck from going off the side of the road, before the delivery?
And I might have been the only guy watching the fourth quarter of this game at all, probably was. But there was a commercial in the fourth quarter of Crypto, which is the sponsor for the team and on their jersey. And it's Embiid walking out in a Crypto jacket by himself, speaking about how the postseason is the most important time. They are not shy at all about they are a little shy because they're being transparent, or they're not being transparent about the news that they put out there. But they're throwing out a little bit of hints and saying, hey, I know you're pissed right now, but try your best to think about May and June.
But what Tom just said too, Tom was on the money. I would have moved them last summer. Like, I love the guy to death. He had Bell's palsy. 200,000 people a year get that. Okay, he had half a face paralyzed, and he scored 50 against the Knicks. I give him credit. Like, I love the guy to death. But he had an excuse for last year. He literally had Bell's palsy, and he still scored 50. You could move him. But now this year starts, and you're talking about how he's not going to play back-to-backs for the rest of his career. He's sitting out. He's really pulling a Ben Simmons, if we want to really get that deep. He's not playing. The guy's just not showing up. He's healthy enough to play. He's not playing. Okay, I get
organizationally they said that.
Yeah,
that's
I know, but I know it's different. I know it's different, but I just want to say, who would want to acquire him? That's my question. Because last summer you could have moved them.
Real quick, every organization, because they don't have to play that game. That's the difference. He didn't say, I'm not playing back-to-back. He said, I don't think they're going to let me play back-to-backs, right? Organizationally, they won't.
Yeah.
The organization that wants them says, I don't give a shit about you playing back-to-backs. You're going to draw for us. That's the one.
That's what I mean.
What do you get
back
for
to Mike's point? They care about asses in the seats. That's all they care about.
What are you getting for him?
You're not getting nothing for him.
Real quick. This is hypotheticals. He goes out. He averages 30 a night, and he plays in 48 games this year. Okay, just throwing it out there. Averages 30 a night. The whole spiel. He gets past the second round. He maybe goes to the conference finals and loses, right? Or right before that, he gets out of the first round, losing the second. However you want to shake it, okay? And he has a really good postseason, like you would expect, and he's healthy, which then I don't think we lose, but he's healthy and we lose. You can get a shit ton for him.
Totally.
So it's if his production's there, and they're the reason he's not playing as much, not him, health-wise, and an organization, it clears that, game on.
Who are we we're talking about the NBA in a league that had Mikal Bridges get traded for 4 first-round picks. Everyone knows who he is. We're talking about a league that a few years ago, Rudy Gobert, we know who he is now. We know who he was back then. 4 first-round picks. If Joel Embiid gets up on the market, it's more likely than not going to be a team that feels like they are making the move to push them over, like a team like Oklahoma City, if they don't get it done this year, who kind of want to put all the chips in on a guy like him, and a small market that need that kind of name. I think there are countless amount of teams that would line up and trade for Joel Embiid in the NBA. This is the NBA.
Picks, especially for us, are useless. I mean, what have we done with picks in the last 10 years in this process? We've done nothing.
Well, I think Daryl Morey's done way, way, way better with picks than the previous regime.
If they're allowing, because this is where Tom buys it. This is where you get me all bought in, because I believe in Daryl Morey building rosters. Yes. I do. I think he's great at it. We just haven't had the help of our main guys that reap the reward of it. But every year our roster has gotten better. Every year. His draft has been money for the most part. He's drafted well for the type of picks he has.
Totally.
Okay. You get that guy into the lottery, I think he crushes it. Right? I do. So if they're like, hey, we're gonna rebuild it with Tyrese Maxey, so it's not even a rebuild. You're retooling it. You're getting 1 million picks. You're gonna have 2 first-round picks for the next 4 years, say.
And that Clippers pick too.
And the Clippers pick, you're just retooling it. You're just saying, I don't even give a shit about players. I'm going to go Oklahoma City style, and I'm going to have 1 million of them. Now, Mike, back to the same conversation. I can then move those things for players to put around Tyrese Maxey and still have picks.
Boys, I got to run. Have a good week.
Yeah, we're running too. We're running.
I get what you're saying, but it's a lot of if this happens. What I hear is Maxey would be here ready to win at 25, 26 years old, and there would be a team built around him not ready to win. And it would be the same black hole we're in with Embiid right now.
Well, why wouldn't they be ready to win?
I think the other thing is the city loves Maxey enough to where if they're building around him, that is more than marketable in Philly. If that's
I'm not worried about the market. It's going to be marketable. I'm not saying that. I'm saying a winning basketball team. I love Morey to death. I'm just saying you're going to have Maxey and a bunch of picks.
Well, no, because we're talking about his ability to build a roster.
Yeah,
and his ability to acquire talent and continue to get rosters better every year. That's where, Mike. That's where I think he comes in at, right? Yes. The draft, he's done a good job. Dude, everybody. I mean, KZ's talking about Dalton Connect.
Oh my God!
I like Dalton, but I don't know if it's a miss yet. I don't know.
It's so early. I would have done it too, but
I agree.
Connect, but
I agree.
So early,
but I still think he's drafted well. You got Tyrese Maxey here, right? So I mean, right there says you draft well.
I'm not saying he doesn't draft well. Jared McCain's a very good player. Is he ready to win an NBA championship this year?
No, but you're not going to have those players
in
the position to try to win an NBA championship. You're going to be dealing those picks.
In his career, Daryl Morey has traded for James Harden twice, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul. He's brought in Paul George. He is more creative with salary cap and pick flexibility than pretty much anyone in the entire league. That's why he's gotten, I believe, this is his 3rd opportunity. And he left the team and joined them. He joined us right away. We didn't need him. Elton was really in that spot, and he was available, and we brought him in for. We did need him, but I just mean, it wasn't like we fired anybody. Too. Yeah, it's not like we fired anybody.
Okay, you're missing the point.
But I don't disagree with you guys. But when Luke starts throwing Harden and Westbrook and all these guys out, they're all losers. But I do agree with you that this roster is better constructed than it has been in the past.
It's so much better constructed.
I 100% agree with you.
Well, nobody's won shit.
But just don't throw me that.
No, I'm just saying that if they make a trade for Joel Embiid, when he's been at his best,
he's been creative. Yes.
Whatever trade they make, if they ever do make it, a trade that includes Joel Embiid leaving, whatever they get back is not going to stick around for very long at all.
Brian Bumper, thanks for super chat. Yeah, I don't care anymore. The guy's already used all his paid time off. Time to actually do your job, Invisible Man. No, Greg has enough for the Morey Glaze.
I just
what I'm saying is he would move picks to acquire guys to go around Maxey. He would have cap flexibility at that point to be able to bring those guys in. Obviously, when you're trading for the picks, you have to match the salary, right? So there's going to be talent delivered back to you. Like if you traded with Oklahoma City and got picks, they're giving you 2 young players. They're giving you at least they got to match the money somehow.
Yeah.
So we're gonna Isaiah Joe back. Like
you're getting ballers back that are role guys, right? You're not getting stars, but you're getting role guys on maybe an expensive deal for 2 years left, right? You're gonna have some of that.
It hypothetically, if that Joel deal to Oklahoma City, it's probably Hartenstein coming back because they're not gonna need him.
Yeah, and that money, I don't know what his money
and
is.
that money, because he just signed a big deal. So
he signed a good deal, but then you're going to get back, like, name a young player on their team.
Like Lou Dort, someone in that much salary. It would have to take someone like a Lou Dort salary who's great, or maybe even a veteran guy like Caruso and his salary. It would have to take something like that. I mean, Joel Embiid's making big time money.
Yeah. So
Luke brought up Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges has never missed a game in his career. He's an Iron Man. That's why he got 6 first-round picks, and all his friends are there, and they're Villanova people. I get what you're saying, like Gobert too, but like if you're an organization with a guy with an injury list of that long, you're not giving up 6 first-round picks. You're just not. I get how good he is. I get how many teams would want him, but when it'll show who really wants him when they offer you what they offer you.
Well,
we're talking about Isaiah Hartenstein.
But but what I'm going to say back to you, you're not wrong. But then you're saying every organization is smart enough.
No,
but we're talking about
especially
Isaiah
in a small market.
Hartenstein. Just like I get, it's going to be flipped and it's going to be rebuilt, but it's going to turn into a mess. I mean, we're talking about trading Joel.
If you got Dort back, Hartenstein, and Caruso, you're already ready to compete in the East, being like a 7 seed right there, with having Maxey.
But this is why why.
Then you got to deal George.
But
right?
This is why you shouldn't trade Embiid. This is why you just don't trade him. And It's not the most ideal scenario at all. It's not even close. But to me, it's worth taking a risk that eventually someday, although it be probably so unlikely, that talent's going to turn out someday because he's that freaking good.
I at this point, I think you're right. Last summer, I think I would have did it and call it a day because it was in the moment.
But look how quickly he restacked the deck in 1 year. Last year, it was like trade everybody, we're over. And it's like, oh, wow, you got Caleb Martin for $7 million a year? How did you do that? We're back in.
I'm back in.
Yeah.
Right? That was the final, signing, getting Oubre back.
Yes.
And then getting Martin. And then, obviously, George, you're like, okay. All right, you sold me back in. And then they're all sitting out. And then you're out. But now we're back in. And I agree. At this point, Mike, you're making good points, right? In terms of you're a trade him guy, but then it's okay, do you feel like you're really getting the value back? It's totally understandable. I always think there's a dumb organization that would be willing to give you way too much because they're trying to sell tickets. So it's different strokes for different folks. Not all these NBA guys are smart, and not all the owners who make the decisions are smart. So you just got to factor that into the conversation. But at this point, dude, what do we got to lose?
Exactly.
You're obviously going to finish this year out.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the year where I want this remembered. Maybe it's finally the year where from game 1 on, everyone's out. Maybe that's the year. Maybe it takes that type of year to just be different and break this second round curse.
That's exactly. And then that's why you kind of it's hard to believe it, but you have to do it.
I like Mike. I do want to retain his services, Martian. You're right.
You
have to die with him.
Talk other sports.
You got to die with him. You're right.
Yeah, we could talk other sports, and I'm calm, but the Sixers fire me up. I've been there since the 10-win, 10-cent tickets, Tony Roten, Henry Sims. It's been a mess. And now we are talking about.
I miss those days. I actually miss those days more than the current days.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, because we had way more.
The best year of all time.
Because there was no expectation, right? There was no expectation.
Well, and we could dream more, Greg.
Yeah.
We dreamed more. We dreamed the picks. Yeah, I mean, we dreamed the lottery balls. We were dreaming of all the great stuff.
Yeah, we had Magic in Korea.
And we had Hinkie. We had our homie. We had the homie.
We had hope. We had hope, and now it's just delusion.
Yeah.
Ish Smith. Ish.
Good old Ish.
Oh.
Yeah, it's you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It just I feel like in the end, no matter what you do, you're looking at a 7-seed ball club. This stuff's never gonna end. It's just gonna be injury after injury, or you trade them and you're just not as good. Either way, I just think. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm hanging on to the hope.
What do you got?
I'm ready for them to win. I'm ready for them to win 15 straight games, and for me to say they're winning it all again and get all excited again. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Me too. Yeah.
Maxey drops a hundo.
It depends. I might wake up tomorrow and say, did I really try to tell everybody that this would be the year because of the way it started? I'm gonna wake up tomorrow being did I say that at 12:30 at night? What am I talking about? because like we know we read the book. This book's different though, because we never read it. We didn't open it. We didn't open it yet. So this book's obviously different than all the rest of them. But like Luke said earlier, I think Luke said it, like, or Mike, you may have said, like, he comes back and game 45 in a year. He's out for 2 months. So like,
yeah, exactly. Who's to say he won't get hurt?
His injuries have never been because like he's got this terrible body. It's been because the freakish shit. So you got bubble wrap him.
Yeah,
we got bubble wrap, baby.
Little Giants.
Bubble wrapping Joel out there. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, but I don't care about the back-to-backs. I'll leave it at this. I just need him playing 55 plus a season, and I'm good.
My only thing is, like, you have to announce it. Like, yeah, exactly.
Well, they did, or so, like, dude, in today's world, everything's announced. So, like, I don't even get into it anymore. I see everybody up in arms about it. You guys are right. Like, keep some stuff in the chamber, right?
Yeah,
in the pocket. But in today's world, everything.
Woj went away. We don't need Shams breaking Woj bombs. You know what I mean?
Like, it's just the world we live in. So everything gets reported. Everything gets reported on, right? So I just accept it that I don't have to like what's being said from modern day athletes. What am I going to do? I'm going to be the old man yelling and screaming about it. But you got younger guys that, are younger than these guys talking about playing. So I think we all have the competitive juices to play. I just, it's, you said worst time? What did I say? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just think it doesn't help you announcing it whatsoever. I mean, it hurts his stock, it hurts his value, it hurts the asses and seats. It just, there's no need to even bring it up. I mean, if you're gonna do it, but you don't have to bring it up. Like, I don't know, but yeah, it's crazy.
No, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to bring it up. It's what they do, and then he he just says, doesn't seem like I'm going to do them anymore. Doesn't seem like they want me to do them anymore. And it's like, I don't care about that because that's not enough games to really dictate you not playing. Make sense? It's not like every week you have back-to-backs. Like, you might go.
Let's be honest. Outside of like one a few years ago, he normally does not play well off back-to-backs anyway.
No. In the playoffs, you don't play back-to-backs either.
Yeah.
So who gives a shit about a back-to-back? The NBA should just ban them. Go to 72 games. Get rid of the back-to-backs.
I'm just worried. I think we're seeing the beginning of the end, to be honest. This is just, it's boiling. Like, this is the beginning of the end. I mean, we're talking about how great Daryl Morey is. I love him to death. He is great. There's nothing bad to say about him, except for the fact that he's building this team that he's built and scrapped together so brilliantly around Joel Embiid. Like, this entire roster, Eric Gordon's 37 years old. He shoots threes. If Embiid's not there, his value has tanked. Like, that's the frustration. Like, he's building this team around Embiid. He's done a hell of a job. Embiid's not there. That's what it boils down to.
I bet you they play Saturday.
They're going to be forced to play. Like,
I don't know. I don't know.
I can't get anything. I can't get anything. I can't get anything positivity out of you. I love it.
I'm just saying, how funny is this though? That like when we bought into it this summer, we made the episode the day after Paul George came. We're like, yeah, we're expecting to be upset, but let's get excited. Who knew we'd be this upset before they even played? I mean, this is insane. Yeah, if you told me that, I'd be like, no way. I mean, it's that bad.
I mean, the Pacers game too. Did you see Caleb Martin? He fouled where they're up by 2.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could tell it's bad because Caleb Martin is currently bringing up the ball because Tyrese Maxey's getting covered 94 feet. Caleb Martin's bringing up the ball. He looks like he's never repped it a day in practice ever. And it looks like, because that's Paul George's job because he's the secondary ball handler on the team. When Maxey's getting picked up full court, it's him. So now, I mean, there's just nothing going on right now that's being repped at all. It's crazy.
And I got one more complaint, and we'll get positive.
It's Phoenix. Well, Phoenix is NBA TV Monday. The next nationally televised game is 10 o'clock against the Clippers on Wednesday, and then Friday versus the Lakers.
Lakers, yeah.
So it's a Wednesday, Friday ESPN late nighters. Let's fucking go. Wednesday night, babe. You know,
you don't think Paul George is fired
where
up to
y'all
play
at
in that
Wednesday?
building?
Y'all better be here.
You don't think
we're gonna be live reacting.
Yeah, and you don't think Paul George is fired up to play in that building? He should be.
We don't have to listen to Kate Scott.
That's a sweet arena.
Yeah,
that Intuit Dome. That's sick.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah.
I would. I've been to LA once. I'm good, but
I'll never go back again.
No, like if somebody wanted to put me in an RV and take me cross country again, I'm in to go check it out again. But I won't get on a flight probably ever again.
The national TV games are the best ever because we don't have to listen to Kate Scott or Allah. That's another thing. Those two are awful. They're so bad. And then not only that, you're losing, and it's just like, oh.
They are. It's a tough. It
was such a woke hire. Like Doris Burke is great at her job. Doris Burke's fantastic. Malika Andrews. Fantastic.
Do I know guys? I feel like I know guys. I feel like not only coaching, I got a good sense for talent, but on HUD, I feel like I got a good sense for talent. And I think I fucking, I feel like I nailed Luke and I nailed Mike. You know what I mean? Not like Diddy wise.
I was waiting for
just like
on
air talent. You know what I mean? I didn't nail you in any other way.
Allah's played like 10 games for the Sixers in his career, and he acts like he's been here forever. Like they're both. Awful.
She like, did you ever do that in your career? I'll play 5 minutes. Like, what are you talking about? I didn't do nothing in his career. Kate, stop asking him. But you're right. Doris Burke's a legend. She's fucking awesome at her job. It has nothing to do with women in sports because some of them are great. Kate Scott is not, and that's okay.
Oh. Like the only positive of Embiid not playing, I don't have to hear Embiid. It's so bad. It's awful. But again, like you said, it has nothing to do with women's sports. There's people that do a great, like Doris Burke's fantastic. Malika Andrews is great. Allie LaForce on TNT is great. Like Kate Scott is so bad. It's the nail in the coffin.
No, it really is. It just like, come on. Like, that's why you're right. I love national televised games. I might start muting now since you brought it up because now she's really going to be in my head. I try to tell people, like, I don't really try to listen to the announcer. Like, you know what I mean? I try to, like, tune them out the best I can when I'm watching games, especially her. But if you get a good duo, they'll lock you in. Yeah. Like, a good duo will bring me in. Like, even for football, like, I don't give a fuck what those guys say. Like, I am listening. I'm analyzing the game on what I'm watching, not what you're fucking saying. You dryer sheet. This is where it gets. This is where it gets to past 12:30. There's a lot of F-bombs. A lot of stuff happened past 12. But I don't know where I'm going with this. So we're good.
Like, I watch the Charlotte Hornets all the time on League Pass just because Eric Collins is so awesome. He's hilarious. Like, it don't matter how good or bad the team is. Like,
he's great.
A good announcer will bring you in.
You really do like the NBA.
Oh, I do.
Watching Charlotte Hornets games, like, willingly. That's
Greg watching. Instead of like, hey, I'll watch an NBA game late at night because I got nothing to watch. Greg will go dabble with NCIS, right?
Better than the NBA.
He'll watch reruns that he's seen 55 goddamn times.
Absolutely,
just over.
But don't forget, I have two TVs. I also got the quad box of NHL action on. The only thing ESPN's ever done right in their recent history is throwing quad boxes up for NHL action.
I think we can talk basketball. You guys talk baseball all day. It's perfect. I won't have to go on another show all summer. Next summer.
Wait, Luke, you opting out on summers? I don't know if that's in your contract. The opt out of the summer. I mean, we essentially all opt out in the summer. Essentially, like, it's a company-wide opt out. Like, we'll see you twice a month. You know what I mean? Like, we're not. There's a lot going on.
Those Phillies days are tough for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's
really easy though.
Tom, what do you think they do? Who do you think's going?
I don't know who's gone, but I know who needs to come in.
Soto?
Yep.
Depends who stays.
Especially now that they lost. Oh, it's such what a collapse. It couldn't happen to a better organization.
Yeah, like I told you guys, there's a reason Kevin Long's still here.
No, I'm talking Yankees.
Oh, I know. I just was talking about Soto. Fuck the Yankees. I love it.
Exactly.
But you're right, Greg. It gets you a better chance to get him. I don't know who's not here. To be
I think
honest with
Bohm.
you.
I think Bohm's going.
I think that's probably the easy low hanging fruit.
And there's
to get.
I don't want to say there's precedence, right? But there was a little contention in their arbitration hearing last year.
Yeah.
Right. Bohm wanted big money. The Phillies didn't want big money. And I don't think it got like heated, but it definitely wasn't pleasant in there.
Yeah.
In that hearing. So he's I don't want to say he's the easy one. I'm not, and I don't mean it because he is the easy one, right? But it's not like easy in the sense of we're now letting a guy who's had two really good regular seasons just go. But I keep going back to this. When you lock Harper into the first base, you then limit what you can do with guys like Bohm and even like a guy like JT. Like, I'm not saying JT's gone, but now that Harper is locked in at first base, that ability to move JT to first base or move Bohm to first base to bring up Aiden Miller and still have Bryce potentially patrolling the outfield is now limited. So you got to make a decision at some point, and it might be now, but maybe it's one more year because I don't know if Aiden's ready yet.
Yeah. Well, we got plenty of time to talk baseball.
We do.
Yeah.
But great show, everybody.
I'm not far.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll be back next week. We're going in 1 in the morning. You know what I mean? We gotta shut her down. We gotta shut her down. Been a great show. Great talk. Maybe you'll see some Sixers playing Saturday. Maybe you'll have to wait till Wednesday. I don't know. Slayer, look at you. No, I mean, I probably pay for both. Slayer, I'm an equal opportunity. So
yeah, I wish it.
But I probably like more players on the Dodgers than I do the Yankees. So if I want to break out my team hatred, I just try to break down the players. I'm a huge Freddie Freeman guy. So, I'm a gigantic Freddie Freeman guy. He's a goddamn winner.
Yeah.
He's a leader. He's how you play the game of baseball. So, and he's super fucking good. So it's all that good package. Yep. Boys, great show. Mike, great first show. We'll see you
Mike,
next Wednesday.
Bro.
Mike, we'll see you next Wednesday. Great test run out of you, and you're back. That's how we operate. And we'll see everybody else next Wednesday. We got Sixers talk next Wednesday night. So it won't even be Eagles talk. We're getting right into it. Live reactions. Giddy up. Great show. We out.